If anyone's ever met or really spoken to Jack, he's probably given you a book to read.
What we're gonna do this little bit of this small little recitation of verse. It's gonna be somewhat vulgar. You know, I haven't done a reading in a long time, and hopefully I don't get too drunk and become completely indecipherable.
About 5 years ago, he gave me this exact copy of No Exit by John Paul Sartre. In case you guys don't know, this book is about 3 dead strangers who find themselves sharing a room in hell. They soon find out that they're there because they're going to become each other's torturers. So at one point, Garcon says to Inez, who's his torturer, "It's you who matter, you who hate me. If you'll have faith in me, I'm saved." So I think that he's extremely easy to hate, and he tries to cultivate that persona all the time by saying obnoxious things. But I think it's because he wants to be saved, and we're in this position as his audience to save him, and also get to hear what he has to say, which is pretty unique. So, here's Jack.
Thank you. Sartre. Sartre? Can we say Sartre? Sartre. To lighten the mood. To lighten the mood, because I don't write enough about purgatory and inescapability, obviously. So thank you guys for coming. I'm going to start off the night with a short preview from my novel, and those of you guys that know me, I've been talking about this fucking thing for 3 years. I promise it will eventually be done. I just need a little karmatic kind of kick in the ass to really sit down and edit this motherfucker. But it's getting longer, it's slowly getting better, and it will be finished sometime soon. So I guess enjoy my little ramblings. Cheers. Welcome. We are a new laws generation. We are guests uninvited to the era of forgetting. We drink to numb our pains for different reasons now. We had not lived through a great war. All our wars in close succession have been filled like a jelly roll with ignorance, capitalism, and blood. We drink without noticeable ramifications and without a passion or a craving for something more. We drink and to find other excusing reasons to remain alive. We flaunt our disrespect for social institutions with a pointless, dull irony. We read about nonconformity on laptops, in subways and airport layover lounges from blogs that quote Camus and Sartre abridged and unsighted. We are the unfortunate, faultless cancer of the flesh on the face of culture, of human history that retains any true and simple beauty once kept safe in bondage. God bless us as the dead that cannot die again. Leave us with the sun burned white and the country brown and dry. Now here's a dialogue in 2 parts for a single madness. Where are all the sensualists hiding? In the houses holy and in the holy houses and ancestral tears, of course. Find yourself an inky hobby, brother. Save your dimes, sweet your dames, sweep the dirt under the carpet. Now he's tonguing her. I don't know him, but I think I know her. Private treasures in public places. Merchants also selling their finest wares. We sit here while they're punting magic over there. You're only a marked man if no one can find you. If you're available, accessible, no one's going to pay. Drive the prices up, stay subterranean. Stay unheld and unrestrained, but mostly just stay away. She looks over at me and smiles with her eyes. Her eyes spoke to me. They told me how cruelty is equitable to passion, how death is the only thing we can control. Death is the only thing that ceases to exist if we cease to believe in it. Her eyes tell me that the traitor is within me. Tell me that the unimportant is more extraordinary. more fascinating in its detail than the most primal and pivotal sampling of life. They tell me the score of the Yankees game. They tell me that she hates the man she's with. They tell me a dirty joke. They tell me nothing I haven't heard before, but it managed to sound new, managed to speak exotically nonetheless. Where do I walk to now? Where do I go? Into the hole of the cuckolds, into the wine-red abyss of the mirthless or the unemployed and unemployable, into the soup of the bored and beat and bought. Is this where I'm walking? Is this where I stand? Is this finally it? Slip into Pygmalionism, write her better and stronger and fuller and wilder and as lovely as your imagination will allow her to blossom. She used to be a flower after all. Make a ceremony out of it. Make a carnival of color out of it. Make it sing. I wish I could catch a glimpse of the future, but it does not yet exist, no matter through which providence you seek it. The vine is torn over time and we glimpse yet less and less of the immediate to come. Our eyes strain and we are blinded momentarily by light, that which comes with hope. Thank you guys. This one is called If I Had a Daughter. Let's fucking hope not. If I had a daughter, she'd have brown hair like yours and something to imagine. A mystery about her always that others mistake as a precocious verb. She'll know the pen and she'll read books and look at them as kites, floating somewhere like a revelation or a rebellion bloody. She'll make ashtrays in art class. She'll get a tattoo when she's 16. She'll worry and she'll believe. She'll nurture and she'll strive. And she'll fall in love one day. And that day, I will be ready for death or for redemption, smiling, softly once, and always reverential. That's it. That was cute. Cute. Adorable. All right, the next one is called Life in a Minor Key. It is in style, it's a rip-off of Cummings. Life in a Minor Key. Minor chords are apathy, mauve, forlornness and cue, equitability. Bringing it down by available means, just another sluggard drinking coffee, becoming an erection, becoming orgasm, static, stable at null. All I would think, if I could think, your skin was lilac, soft. In fact, I dreamt the other night and there were two of you. The stubble on my chin finds its way slow along your stomach, along your thigh, above your knee, harmonious, the glorious anatomy, giving me time to wake up, time to film it with my mind. I forget so easy now. It's good to keep a growing catalog, something to analyze and discuss, something to remember you by, like a funny anecdote about a martyr. Youth. Back when afternoons were 50 cents in a nickel bag, I borrowed gesture or two, a malt liquor 24, a stoop in a neighborhood where you don't live, a stolen record that you don't really need, but that you will listen to because it's another conquest. When those afternoons drowned out the mundane and everything else at the same time, when those afternoons took you on a long train ride, took you around in a loop, and you end up on the beach, and you sit familiar amongst strangers, and you talk, and say things your parents don't let you say, and you try to kiss the girls with the shiny faces, and you let them take their jeans off because your hands fidget nervously, because your legs shake, your eyes twitch, and you don't want them to see. You want them occupied. And when it becomes bare, you pretend you're cool on the warm sand. You pretend like there's no one watching. And when you're finished, and only a quarter hour has passed, you pull out the weed like an apology. You become taciturn out of lack of else to do. And when the joint is rolled, their mendacity pulls you back and shrouds you warmly on the warm sand in the cool gathering, and you talk again, and you keep talking, and you will eventually only have 50 cents left and a long train ride home. Lovely to remember sometimes. She was like Sappho, with great big hips that swiveled, an original, a poetess whose one misery was youth. She taught me like you teach a dog, obedient and semi-conscious. She taught me about pains and their lack of meaning, about feeling dead and feeling still. She taught me so much, and she swayed her hips, and I was mystified and grateful. And I used to sit and watch her write. And she would look at me watching her, and she wouldn't smile. She'd offer me a drink instead. Because she knew I needed one. Because it was the right way to go about it. Because there was a long stretch of time to bed. Too much vengeance for former lovers and us both. When she'd stretch a leg beside the typewriter, I would know. A cue carefully constructed, tested in sweat and open mouths. She never let me read her work. She told me I wouldn't recognize it as I did my own. I was barely a writer then, more of an addict for experience and temptation, wanton and usually breathless, who wrote when there was nothing else to do. She taught me like you teach a dog, how to use a pen, how to pawn for wine, how to designate the necessary, how to use all that, and how to deserve her bed. She was Sappho with great big hips that knew my madness, that grifted every weakness I had ever had. They were like homeless children begging for milk. And I loved them, and I loved her, and I knew that she would be gone. Thank you. All right, so an ode to women who selflessly produce erections on lonely train rides. Consider this. Sitting in solitude, bound to the seat of a moderately crowded subway train car, dozing succulently amongst all that lack of space, when all of a sudden, your serpentine appendage slithers loose into the area separating the skin of your thigh and whatever cloth is constructing the set of pants you've chosen to wear on that particular day. You look across, you look to the side, you look to the other side. You monitor your surrounding area to seek the cause of this occurred bouleversement, this disruption from the former slothful tranquility between your loins. Consider this. At first, all you see are elderly black women reading their pocket Bibles on their long train rides back home, back to work, back home, back to work, predictably adrift as a cradle. Then, like Arcana no longer enshrouded, you see her. She could be a brunette, a blonde, dirty, colored or natural, ginger-haired, or possessing too faded to adequately evaluate placement within a standard color codex hair tint. She could have blue, green, hazel, brown, like Lilia's terminal colored irises, globose, filled with a depth for which there could be no comparison. Gray, liquid, mad, vulnerable, squinted, sanguine, broken, large as pools of water eyes. She could be sitting braced, straight up as an envelope, cross-legged, the skirt taut or tauntingly rising to showcase the beach in low tide, lower thigh revealed. She could be sitting loose, motionless, or, She could be sitting loose, motionless, or dextronistral, in her seat, jerky or just spastic, or graceful as a debutante is taught. She could be her, just not the her you want, just the her that'll have to do. Consider this. What if it will never be the her that you want ever again? It will not matter because soon we will all be dead and deaf. But for now, in the hunt, the willing prey is still fresh and perky, expecting or unexpecting, feeling blessed that there are still women sitting across from you, lacking features because they all eventually, inadvertently, blend together. But yet they still produce something to imagine worthy of an ode. Laughless but imminent. My skin spans the boroughs of this city next to you. The insane here are my favorite, because I only take madness seriously. The spaces stretch into screams, bellowing like fireflies on a summer night. Eventually she comes back to tell me, "You know I'm a better poet than you." She kisses me as though she's bartering. "Sure, sweetheart," I accede the terms. I drown inside of her in consent, and it's warm and it becomes the salvation I had always wanted. And I want to thank her like a taste. And I want something to say. "You're amazing," sputtered out. Her eyes demolish me. I'm weak. God might not exist, but why does it matter anymore? I will have her as my jilted blasphemy. But I have to ask her, take me furiously. Turn me into your famous exploitation. Let me deify you, objectify you. Let me give you definition. Let me encompass you every curve. Let me stir within you like a lawless soul. Let me finally do more than write. Just let me, baby. And I'll turn to promise, and I'll become your sight, your spell, and you'll become the laughless bliss like guilt, but imminent. Thank you. This next one is called Morning Traipsing. I was walking down the street with dried blood on my face. I couldn't imagine why until a dog barked at me. I thought about this morning when you kicked me out of bed, telling me that I had things to do. Couldn't imagine what deserved a busted forehead. Where did I really need to go? Right now, I was just walking down the street. Further along, down Bowery, I know there's a warm liquor store. By the time I get there, the clouds will wash away my blood, and I'll be welcomed as a gentleman. These lips that I needed across my heart should sure put me in a tough spot. Can't imagine what drove your heel into my back this morning. Must have been something important, but you'll let me know when I return. With a black bag light under my arm, where I really needed to go. Walking down the street, barely straight as I, dried blood on my face. But when I walk back, it will already be washed away by the clouds, turned black as a drunken shake, and I will be welcomed as a blessing. That's it. Thank you, guys. The sadists and the sycophants are much the same at nothing. It's in the eyes, in the stare, the breath they take so slowly, as though to mediate a coke rush. They apply their teeth to you, like pliers nursing on lost souls. They become familiar. They always ask you first. And when you let them in, there is no letting go. They are like a woman that you love until you perish, until the ego has been nourished, until the stars have been written by bleeding fingers, cankered by indulgence and despair. Yeah, the sadists and the sycophants are much the same. I hope that you meet them both. I hope that you survive them. Thank you. Who do I look like? Fucking Bartleby? Come on, baby, get the fix and let's move on. I've been buzzing about all day, but on the upside, I was the 12th caller and I won a teddy bear for you. Ah, the sweet bliss of deliverance. Last time I wanted to gamble, I had to deal from the bottom of the deck. Last time I talked to you, I slipped like Freud all over the bed, and you laughed and I listened to you. Heaven knows the sweet bliss of your mercy. Shit, honey, how long do we have to wait? Your shakes are coming off regardless. Might as well invest in soup. Know what I mean? Langston told me to kill him. Let his soul run wild. So we finally found a home, and the first thing you get a fucking bird? How many cages do I have to put up with? At least the seed here tastes good, grows fast. At least we both have a key for the locks and a song to sing. We bought our lounger in St. Louis long ago at the Prufrock Little Company. Thank God it's lasted. Shame we got Tom Walker for a landlord though. His properties tend to burn. That's why we insured all with your hips. That's why we only kiss the tips, the lips, the bits that stir. And why we pay on time without inquiring per credit. We'll make it fine, all right, at least another night. But who is this who rings our bell? Another devil drawn from hell. We've got no booze and no surprise, no show, no requisite demise, no rhyme, no entrails, no design, nor paradise, nor wife with a ring upon a dainty finger yet. Who makes the noise from beyond the door? Is it Anita, that filthy fucking whore? There's no money here, you should let her know. Only love and a loaf of rye, no butter. A knife with nothing to spread. Might as well bathe in the soul. The prostitutes look tired, paint peeling like a second-hand car lot. The recession hit them hard, bargain prices on hand jobs advertised. While walking home, they squawk at me like oiled pelicans. Hey, stranger, welcome to the Ritz. We're shaved, sure, and our minibar is stocked. Broke, both broken, I still buy you flowers. Unfiltered cigarettes for me, cheap wine for us. Another night to pass, another shared orgasm to keep us sane. No job too small to speak of, a particle lost somewhere in the minutiae merry-go. The marigold standing in the vase, always on my case, while you're waiting on someone's table in all that empty space. Black nights, gray days, you walk home alone, while I sit scribbling my impotent dissatisfaction. I'm by the phone when Anita rings for you. Fuck off, you preachy tumor, I tell her. Soon the dial tone drops down like water from a broken sink, fixable only if it was an unwelcome intruder. It's as though the goal is isolation, like children happy for a time out. It's as though it's Monday morning every day now, like an overplayed replacement song. It's as though it's just you and I, like no one else exists inside the silo. Ain't no such thing as violence anymore, only silence and necessity. I owed Jesus 20 grand, but I took the Louisville to him instead. Needed the bread to pay the landlord. Besides, I had no quarters for the bat cage and no wind-up for the clocks, no tea bags for the mugs, a need for entertainment. Ain't no such thing as violence anymore, only silence and bare humanity. The noose tightens slowly and eventually we all go out to pasture. The rope chafes the skin, the burns on the neck like hickeys, like beauty from a whore. Pale skin to give the bruises a stage. We're hanging out for a while, so find a comfortable stool to drop. The teeth like rocks of salt melting, the heart strikes the coil like a whip. The feet wear out from immobility, the sand like nothing in the sky. Find a plot in frugal earth, find a spot on the globe to wish for. Find conspiracy in her, in you, for me. The beat like a shrink's metronome analyzing from a desk. The conception like a growing gift unwrapped. The affection sparse and needy because they breathe. The stars like memory along the surf. Find a linear momentum to make it stop. Find a worthy contradiction for self-appraisal. Find an animal in her. For her, for you, in both. Do you get afraid of falling through the floor, the foundation of the tenement, the bottom, the plate that shifts us all? Rotating angels in the hell, the muck, the chiming chipper bell. Spin in that tub of sound, around, around. Anita called again while you weren't home, a sister, like a convent or a convict you were walking from. Spending my mornings shaving the suicide off my face. Back then I was a writer. Now just a pathetic body of purple prose, another cardboard cutout. But you've forgiven and so have I, and now you walk home alone, back to me. Your bird chitters me awake. I make the coffee and by mistake forget the amaretto, the brandy, shit. That goddamn fucking bird. I should evict the bitch, but I'd be fined. You have always reserved your scorn for the loss of small and pretty things. While you're making socialism of pecan pie, I sit in front of another empty page and the TV roaring. Blitzer at the desk with other pundits performing a polyphonic aria. Incali mi tradique l'alma ingrata. A frenzied argument, a mimicry to match the topic and its pace. A minstrel show for open eyes, insomniacs hallucinate in sync. Fried butter, Iowa, a change from change that nearly came. If we had only come to nihilism or anarchy with a choice of date, if that dishy nymph didn't look quite so apathetic, the eyes comatose as a Hitler Youth, or a virgin selling off her hymen. A change, it might be true, like 4 or 8 or 16 back, add crucifix and meth, then stir the pot. Hopefully you'll come back tonight, and we can go to bed. I can leave this meaningless purgatorial migraine for your arms for now, until that goddamn fucking bird wakes me up again, until another page remains unwritten, until I turn back to in despondent plight to the electromagnetic seizure, the blight of basic cable news. We watched High Fidelity on VHS to ease into the night. You asked to explain the reference. Jack, who is the Jesus and Mary chain? I taste her celestial skin before I answer or so formally. Scottish, Curish, off the dole like us into the 80s indie haven. Explanation then a happy ending filmed in Cusack grinning. We fall asleep together then. Don't you hate it when the thrill is gone, when alone a hair falls into your beer? We have drifted. It's no longer instinctual. It no longer cuts through out of necessity. The blood you gargle to spit is no longer a lyrical martyrdom. Where's my Ferlinghetti? Where is yours? Where are all the city lights? Now no, a dirty glass of beer, an unpayable tab, a rudderless shine dying out, dying wet. Too much time. The mystics define nothing. And where are you, the communal proposition? Don't let me experiment because I will surprise you. I'll use every single color we have left. So let's turn that light off, baby. Silence, she said. Fucking Anita, she came to your job again? Hide behind the wolves, little queen. She didn't say anything, as usual, as is commonplace in the manners of those as her. I accepted with, all right. Now, please, darling, turn off the light and hide behind your wolf. You now look like a young Joan Baez, and I love the voice of your beauty. And I love you the same as the word was created, because I don't really do politics, honey. I do romanticism like a poor man eating. Yeah, baby, you're looking so grown up now. Me, you know me. I'm never growing up. I'll be rambling around until someone puts me in the ground. The other is not a choice. Maybe an interlude to build a 7-digit fist in the desert. Some may never live, but the crazy never truly die. Don't you hate it when the thrill is gone, when anew she comes home with questions? Jack, dear, how was your... No cultural Napoleon to aesthetize the landscape. Instead, the boredom makes the list. Buy the vinegar, shoot the crack, make some potpourri. Check the want ads, masturbate, then listen to some no-name on Roman Candle to float on self-despair. All in the lethargic days, mowed in disrepair. Wishing for revolution, getting billed for poetry instead. Jack, honey, how was your... Reading Chaucer with a broken tooth is how it should be done. But not reading the tale of a wife, rather my own work kept safe in our fireplace for the last century. It didn't go well, and no dental insurance coverage provided. I came back home to wait for you. I have used all your emptiness and lust as bookmarks to fill the pages of all my old books and mysteries. I might fake my death one day, but not today. So let's be still and sink into one another like music for a while. Some time, as always, passes, and with your last hatred discovered and our last dollar spent, we make our traversal into another verse, 5 poor lines in a homeless stanza. Our lives have made a bed of it, a kiss between and a locked door. Walker lights a match like a red carpet. I'm base enough to espy whether Jesus is waiting outside, but when he saw me climbing down the steps, he smiled and forgave me his broken hand. He smiled and forgave me his broken head. Told me that I'd feel the path of thorns soon spread ahead, further in the red. Must have made a benevolent compassionate of him with a donated concussion. He even tolerated a cigarette and a light for me. Crumbling, I guess it's back to the hustle, baby. Back on the moon, back in the delighted spoon. I've still got one more reading at the bar tonight. You tell me to make it as hopeful as I can, so I stood before them, like a crepuscular ray or a comet burning up. Their drinks bought, mine still unpaid. The laudanum in the bathroom might have made me late. I hate the place separated well where they'll return. And I hate the approaching winter's burn. Soon it will be time to vote again. Decide which alley will starve the vagabonds, the tramps and learned men, kind women with their sentimental hearts. I've never relied on the kindness of strangers, and thus, being a stranger myself, I've never registered. But I'll speak my way one last time tonight, because unlike you, darling, I'm sure of what's to come. Because unlike you, pretty girl, I've already started treasuring what we've lost. A cough into the microphone, a soporific glimmer clinging to my eyes, a taste to ease the arid tongue, and then it comes. Go grab Zimmerman for me, get him to write to you. Go grab Zimmerman for me, get him to write you another protest. I'll stay next to Cohen, creating the longing creatures made of golden rust. I do not want universality. I prefer the murky side streets. I want the nectarine, not the peach. I want the flask, not the bottle. I want you, not her. I want the drunken poet, not the prolific writer, the jogger, the consummate idealist, the tourist, the color beige, none of these. But you've received a ring from me, quickly lost like that us that was written yesterday. And you'd received the lyrics, the same as before, like fate, like hate, like the opium of your nudity dilating the irises. I saw you, I still see. You get so lonesome in these words, in these times, in this procrastinating heat that sticks. And what of that amalgamation that we do not define, that no longer defines us anymore? Like a raincoat, like a glory, like a lock of your hair on my writing desk, like a novel on the mantelpiece. Let me stay indulgent, baby, please. Let me shout about you, about how divinity knows you by name. Sincerely, I ask. The crack up, the author, the me, JTT. A silence fills the crowd. I see Anita standing stout as a scowl before a meal. I see them all ready for the kill. Those deaf that listen, they ravage me revolted. They said the words I speak are dead. There are cries worthy of all sorts to spill blood for, to ululate in mobs and argue over, to commentate and instigate, to record and populate like spores, to make widows and close windows, to jeer and drudge and dream a drunkard's dream. They carried me off, and I know you could do nothing but follow them along the lines. Your life is still abound, still an oblivious deluge of bliss and sadness utterly deserved. They cut my hands off and let me hang there. The tower of the high-rise kept me dangling like a child's toy, like a vulture, shifting, thinning, then expanding like a dwindling breath, like death's last hard-drawn hard-on, like incubus of us somewhere beyond. Eventually, maybe the language, the voice, will spread like a pulchritudinous virus through the shell. Maybe when we're all devoid of grace, of sanguine expectation, it shall suffer futile resurrection, and then maybe the cynics will all die, believing themselves to have left their ottomans to prove their moksha. Regardless, there's nothing to the silence that we've been castigated to. It's far too noisy here. It's far too stale. We should seek articulation instead of another preacher's repetitive conjecture. Show me a prisoner who doesn't sleep or famish, that doesn't collect days like dust along the wall. Show me a man incapable of love or poverty, and I will shake his hand like birth. Thank you guys.